What's up, guys? It's Chris again. Hopefully, if you're watching this while you enjoy your cup of coffee, or maybe it's an afternoon, it's coming at the perfect time for you to think through what God has for you today. Hopefully yesterday you watched Daniel Drewski and got to start off strong with us. So we're on day 2, talking about the prophecies of Scripture and how they're foretold. And I was really encouraged by the one that I have today, because this comes in Isaiah 40. It's actually 1 through 5. So hopefully you go back and read this. But it's foretelling about the guy that's supposed to come before Christ comes and begins his work. And it's talking about John the Baptist. In fact, it says in verse 3 of chapter 40 of Isaiah, "A voice of one calling in the wilderness, prepare the way of the Lord, make straight in the desert a highway for our God." We get to see this 700 years later. Take that into account. 700 years this story is building, and Isaiah is comforting the people then about a moment. And we come to John 1:23, and this is what John the Baptist says. He says, "I am the voice of one calling in the wilderness. Make straight the way of the Lord." And he begins to take on all the Pharisees, and they start getting angry, like, who are you to say these words? And what's so cool is the very next day, Jesus walks on the scene. And John the Baptist tells all of them, listen, I'm baptizing with water, but there will be one who comes, and he will baptize with his Spirit, and he will begin a good work, and he will be the one that was foretold 700 years before that is going to change the game. And sure enough, Jesus comes on the scene, and John gets the opportunity to baptize Jesus in the Jordan River. And God tells John before Jesus comes on that scene, "You will know it is my Son, because a dove will come down from heaven, and it will be my Spirit, and it will lay rest on the one who will die and save all from their sins." And so this is what happens. Can you imagine standing on the shore of the Jordan River and seeing the Son of God be baptized? Because this is where it began. This is the work that Jesus began. His ministry began that day, and it is still going. And I want you to be encouraged today, because just like that 700-year break in between Isaiah talking about what was to come and John the Baptist speaking up saying, "I am the voice," know that God's past faithfulness is a great prediction of what he's going to do even in your life, in your future. So I want you to take this truth today and remember that everything Jesus did was strategic, and it was for you. And he's still working today. You are still a part of God's story. It is so cool to see that it doesn't matter what has happened from when it was told to when it happened, that God was so faithful unto himself and the promise that he made that he would come through his Son to save you and I.